Well, hello grade 3s. It's so good to be back with you again. Les, your maths teacher, excited to be part of this and to be able to bring my lessons to you. Love teaching maths and so let's go ahead, shall we? And you know that these lessons are brought to you by WorksheetCloud, and there is the email address if you need to get hold of me, ask me any questions about the lesson, and I'll be happy to get back to you and help you. So that is at grade3@worksheetcloud.com, and with no further ado, let's get on with the lesson, shall we? So we have done a fractions lesson before, but we're going to explore a little bit more about fractions and revise a little bit as well, because it's always important to come back to the concept that we've covered before. So I'm going to leave nothing out so that you guys really get the basics of fractions, as when you go up into your bigger grades later on, you will have a good grounding and understanding of what all these maths concepts are. That's very important. So here we go. Right, now I always like you to understand the very basics of what a fraction number is telling us. And I'm telling you guys, they actually do tell us something quite important. So you've got a 1 with a line and then a 4 underneath it. And then you've got all sorts of things going in your head and thinking, well, what does that actually mean? Well, let's pay close attention. I'm just going to find my little magic pen, and we are going to have a look at what this actually means. So here I've got a plate with an orange cut into 2 exact halves, and I've got a plate next door which has got a pear cut into 4 equal parts. Right, so what does it mean? 1/2 means that I have taken one of those halves and I have circled it there. As you can see, I've circled it, meaning that I will have half of that orange. And what have I had? I've had 1 out of 2, right? I've had 1 out of 2. And that, there we go, 1 out of 2. And that line there means out of. So it means that I have taken 1 out of the 2 parts. Right. Now let's have a look at this one. So here we have a plate of pears, 1 pear cut up into 4 equal parts, remember. So I then have circled 1 of those parts, which means I'm allowed to have 1 out of 4. 1 out of 4. Right. So the bottom number here tells me how many equal parts I've cut my orange into. And there's 1 part and there's another part. And I've circled 1 of them. All right? So in the top part, which is the numerator, that tells me how many of the equal parts I have eaten. I have eaten half. Okay, so here are my pears. I have cut the pear into 4 equal parts. 1 whole into 4 equal parts. That is my denominator, telling me how many equal parts I've cut that pear into. And this numerator at the top tells me I have taken 1 out of. And that line, it's just a little line, but promise you it tells you a lot. It tells a whole story. So this fraction there tells you a whole story of what we mean about a fraction. So if you remember that, grade 3s, if you remember the story that the fraction number is telling you, you will never go wrong. You will always understand what a fraction means exactly. That's important that you know that. Right, now we're going to have a look at this a little bit more closely. So over here, I have got 5 lions, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, this is a slightly different way of looking at the fraction. Now, I haven't cut those lines up, have I? No. But I'm talking about, let's assume that 2 of those lions went to another game reserve. So they moved 2 of the 5 lions from one game reserve to another game reserve. Right, so they took this lion and they took that lion. So they took 2, numerator, out of the 5. Out of is your line there telling you that it's out of. So they took 2/5 of the lions from one safari park or lion park to another lion park. And then 3/5 of those lions, or 3 out of 5, were left at the same one. So they moved 2 out of 5, which means they moved 2/5. Okie dokes. Now, here are 6 little frogs, okay? And I've circled 3 out of the 6 frogs. In fact, I've circled half of the frogs as well. So you know that 3 out of those 6 frogs hopped out of the pond. And 3 out of the 6 frogs stayed in the pond. So there's the 3 that hopped out, 3 out of 6. There's my out of line, means that 3/6 of the frogs hopped out of the pond. And another way of saying that, of course, is 1/2. 3 out of 6 is 1/2. So if we now have a look at my little mice over here, aren't they quite cute? There are 8 mice. So that tells me that I have, my denominator is 8. 5 of the mouse, 5 of the mice ate cheese. 5 out of 8 mice ate cheese. So 5/8 of the mice ate cheese, and 3/8, or 3 out of 8 of the mice did not eat cheese. So is that starting to make really clear sense to you, grade 3s? Because it's really important that it does make sense, right? So there we have it. Let's refresh our memories again. So 2/5 of the lions moved from one safari park to the other. 2 out of 5, and 3/5 of the lions stayed at the same safari park. Here are our little frogs. 3 out of 6 jumped out the pond. 3 out of 6 stayed in the pond. So 3/6 hopped out and 3/6 stayed in. And of our mice, there are 8 mice, 8 little mice, and 5 out of those 8 mice managed to eat some cheese, and 3 out of those 8 mice, or 3/8, didn't eat the cheese. Right? Let's move on. Okay, now we're going to have some fun dragging these little fraction names, the correct words to the fractions shown. So here is a square which has been divided into 3 equal parts. So it's been divided into thirds. That diagram there is showing thirds. How many parts can we count here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right, so there are 10. There are 10 equal parts here. And of course, that means that we're going to call them tenths. How many are shaded here, or are drawn here? We've got halves. That's showing us halves. Where's my halves name? There we go. And over here we have 4 equal parts, so we have got fourths. Now another way of saying that, of course, is quarters. Fourths. So there we've got thirds, tenths, halves, and fourths or quarters. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing here. We are going to drag the correct fraction to show the shaded sections of each shape. Okay, so here, guys, we have got a shape divided into 3 equal parts. Okay, what does that mean? That means one part is shaded, so that is a third is shaded. Here, what is shaded? Half is shaded. And in this diagram, well, let's count. We have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little parts, equal parts there. And 3 out of 6 are shaded. In fact, it's the same as half. Can you see that? Because 3 parts are not shaded. And over here we have got our tenths, and 2 out of those tenths are shaded. There we go. Like that. 2 tenths. 2 out of 10. This one here, the next one, there are 4 equal parts. Okay, it's divided into 4 equal parts, or quarters or fourths. 3 out of the 4 are shaded, which means that is 3/4. Fabulous. Now let's count these. How many equal parts have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the denominator is 8. We've got 8 equal little parts there. 2 of those are shaded. So it's 2 out of 8. But that is also, just as a matter of interest, 1/4. Can you see why? I will show you. So here, if you look at this diagram, it's 8 equal parts, but it's also, there's a quarter and a quarter. There are my 4 equal parts. So 1/4 is the same as 2/8. So if that's chocolate, and let's assume I eat that bit there, and you eat those 2 there, I'm eating just one bigger piece, and you're eating the same amount of chocolates, but you're eating it in 2 smaller pieces, cut into a quarter, cut into 2 halves, which is 2/8. All right, now let's do this a little bit more quickly. So here, we are going to now match the fraction name with the unshaded parts, grade 3. Okay, so we have thirds again. So over here, 2 out of 3 are not shaded. Here we have 2 equal parts, or halves, and 1 out of 2 is not shaded, and 1 out of 2 is shaded, so it's half and half. Here we have the same shape that we had last time. 3/6 are not shaded, which is the same as a half, and because 3/6 are also shaded. Now the 2 tenths there, 2 out of 10 are shaded, which means that 8 tenths is not shaded. Righty. 3/4 is shaded, which means 1/4 is not shaded. Here we have our 8ths. Remember, 2/8 are shaded, but 6/8 are not, or it's also 3/4. Okay, 3 out of the 4 is not shaded there as well. All right, so you're getting the good idea of what is happening here. So now this time we are going to write. Using our pen, we're going to write what the fraction is that is shaded. Well, first, what we've got to understand is we need to count and see how many equal parts we have there. Okay, so let's have a look. So there's 1 there. Actually, let me rather go back to my highlighter, or my, right, okay. Okie doke. So let's have a look. We have got 6 equal parts here, grade 3s. Do you see that? And 2 out of the 6 are shaded. So I'm going to write it correctly down here, which is 2/6, of course. Here we have another circle where we have 3 equal parts. So that circle, or that pizza, is divided into 3 equal parts, right? And how many of them are actually shaded? Absolutely right. 2 out of 3. So 2/3 is shaded, are shaded. And here we have a beautiful little heart, and half of that is shaded. So 1 out of 2 parts is shaded. 1/2 is shaded, 1/2 isn't. Right, let's have a look at this one now. We have got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 3 out of 10 is shaded. And here we've got 8 pizza pieces. A pizza is divided into 8, and 3 out of 8 is shaded there. Here's a kite or a box or a square which has been divided into 4 equal parts, and 1 out of those 4 parts is shaded. Just get my cursor in the right place to help. Right, so 1 out of 4 is shaded. There we go. We've created our own fractions perfectly fine. On we go. Now we're going to write down what it is that is not shaded. So 4 out of 6 here is not shaded, right? So 4/6. 2 out of 3 is shaded, which means it's 2/3. The heart, 1/2 is shaded and 1/2 is not shaded. Right, and out of my tenths, there are my 10 equal little squares. How many? If 3 are shaded, then 7/10 is not shaded. And how we've got eighths. If 3/8 are shaded, it means 5/8 are not shaded. And let's have a look at this one. If we've got our 4 equal parts there, 1 part is shaded, so 3 parts are not shaded. 3 out of 4, 3/4. Okay, you getting it, grade 3s? I hope so. Now, here's another concept that we need to really understand well. Okay, so it's greater than, smaller than, and equal to. So these two signs here tell me if a number is greater than, smaller than, or equal to another number. This sign here is called greater than. Because, and so you will see how we use that now. And this one, turned this way, is our smaller than. So I want you to see that this bracket, this red bracket here, is showing the big side of that lying on the side V. And this here is showing the little pointy side. And of course there you know exactly what our equal sign looks like. So let me show you how we use the sum. Here we have a number. We know that 9, grade 3s, is bigger than 2. So when I write it, if I want to show that or that statement to be true, I write 9 and I use my bigger than sign there to show that 9 is larger than 2. And over here, if I want to compare 2 and 9 again, I have to say 2 is smaller than 9. So instead of having to write greater than in words and smaller than, I use these symbols in the words in the place of those words. And you just need to know that this is greater than because the greater than side, the bigger side, is facing that way. This is smaller than because the pointy little side is facing that way. And then here's an example where we can use an equal sign, that 4 equals 2 plus 2. Right, so now we're going to go and compare fractions using these signs. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to drag the symbols below to correctly complete the comparison of the shaded regions for each shape. So here we have got a quarter and we have a half. Well, which is bigger? Or are they equal? Right, so obviously this one is the bigger fraction, all right? So I'm going to select, and this one is the smaller one. Okay, let me just circle that one. So this here is the smaller part. So I have to take my 1/4 is smaller than a half. Now notice that the quarter lives on the pointy smaller side of that shape and the half lives on the bigger side of that shape. So it's quite easy to remember really. And here we have got 2/4 shaded, but we've also got 4/8. So what have we got here? We've got 2 out of 4 of those equal parts shaded, and we've got 4 out of 8. But what do you notice, grade 3s? Those are exactly the same amounts, aren't they? They're just called something different, right? 2/4 and 4/8 are the same. And in fact, they are also the same as 1/2. So I'm going to use my equal sign there. That's fun. I quite enjoy doing these. They're quite fun. Right, do you see that now? greater than, smaller than, and equal to. Let's now try this one. We're now going to say also which comparing what is shaded. So over here, I want to change my color. Let's do some red. Over here, 3/4 are shaded and only 1/8. Okay, so which is bigger? Yes, this one is bigger. So I'm going to take the greater than sign and I'm going to put it in the box. So what does that say then? 3/4 is greater than 1/8. And in this little diagram, wow, okay, I've got how many parts? I've got 8 here, 8 equal parts. 4/8 are shaded, so 4 out of 8, and 1/3 is shaded. Now, which one do you think is greater or smaller? Well, 4/8 is half, really, isn't it? And that is definitely less than half. So we have to then say that this one is greater than that. So 4/8 is greater than 1/3. Right, let's finish this last one. I think this is the last one with the comparing. All right, we're doing it again to see the shaded areas. 2/3. Okay, there's 2 out of 3. 2/3. All right, and 4/8. Okay, now we need to have a look at that closely. And what do you think is the bigger one? Well, it's this one, isn't it? Because you can see that that part there, the leftover, is bigger than that leftover bit. So 2/3 is bigger than 4/8. And later on you'll use other ways to show how you can compare those using number calculations. But for now, we're just using pictorial, visual ways of finding out which is bigger. Now let's have a look at this one. Okay, 2 out of 8 are shaded. Okay, 2 out of 8. 1 out of 4. Okay, so 2/8 and 1/4. But what can you notice about that? Well done. So that is equals to sign gets used there because 2/8 and 1/4 are the same. Right, I use the pen tool here now to shade in the fractional sections. So this is quite fun. I'm going to choose a crayon to color these in. So 1/3. Okay, I have to color 1/3 in, and let's see if this crayon is working. Why is it not working? Okay, there we go. Right, and I'm going to choose my red crayon. I think it did work a bit. So I have to color. What does 1/3 mean? 1/3 means 1 out of 3. And remember, that is your numerator. That is your denominator. So the 3 says there are 3 equal parts, and the 1 says we are coloring in only one of them. So here we have 6 that need to be colored in. So there it's 3 out of 6. So I will color all those in beautifully. Right, this one says there are 8 equal parts. My denominator tells me that. I must only color in 6 of them. 6/8. So I've done, which is the same as 3/4. Right, so you're starting to learn all sorts of different things here. Then we've got tenths, but I'm only allowed to color in 6 out of 10. All right, so that's 6/10. 6 out of 10. And this one, 2 out of 4. And what can you notice about that? Grade 3's 2/4, the same as 1/2. Fabulous. Right, let's estimate now and see how many of these fractions are actually colored in. All right, so let's drag it. Now this looks to me about 1/3. Right, 1/3 of that glass is full. 2/3 has been drunk already. And this apple, it looks to me like 1/4 has been eaten. So I would say that 3/4 is not being eaten. And with these little sweets here, or Easter eggs, I would say about a half has been eaten. Okay. Right, so now we're going to have a look and see which of these are being shown. All right. 1/3, I'm going to do this quite quickly. 1/2, 3/6, 2/10. This is a revision of the previous one. 3/4 and 2/8. Perfect. All right, unshaded ones. Let's have a look. This is 1/3. You quickly, and you're going to give me the answer now as quickly as you can and see if you can beat me to do this one. This is just a revision. Okay, 1/2. Sorry, unshaded. We're just going to do this again, and you're going to do it with me, right? So 1/3 is shaded. What's not shaded? 2/3. See if you can get it before me. The next one, what's not shaded? 1/2. Right. So you listened very well earlier. How many of these are not shaded? What's the fraction? 3/6. Excellent. And how many of these are not shaded? 8/10. Well done. And these, what's not shaded? 1/4. Fabulous. And these, what's not shaded? 6/8. Right, grade 3. So you listened well to the time before. Right, use the pen tool, write the fraction. Are you going to be able to do this quickly for me? Are you going to be able to do it quicker than I'm able to do it? Let's have a try. So, what is shaded? 2/6. Absolutely right. Okay, and this one, tell me quickly before I can do it. What is shaded? 2/3. Well done. So you're getting there. You listened to the last time we did this. We're just doing it again so that to see if you can do it without my help. And this one, 1/2 is shaded. Perfect. And this one, well, they're 10. How many are shaded? 3/10. Excellent. And this one, well, there are 8 little pieces, and there are 3 that are not, that are shaded on there. And this one, there are 4 equal pieces, and how many? What's the fraction that's shaded? 1/4. Well done. I'm so glad you listened to the previous section. Okay, let's what's not shaded? Quickly as you can, guys. Right. 2 out of 6, which is 2/6. Next one, race me now. 2, what's unshaded? Oh no, Mrs. Harmon, you're talking nonsense. It's quite nonsense. Let's do this again. Oh, oops. Right, so now there I don't know what I pushed something incorrectly. So now we can just actually have a look and see that those are all correct grade 3s. Mrs. Harmon's jumping around everywhere. All right, so here we go. Using the pen tool, write the fraction that's not shaded. Right, how many 6 are there not shaded? 4. Okay. How many pieces here are not shaded? 1 out of 3. Wow. How many are not shaded here? 1 out of 2. Fabulous. And what's shaded, not shaded here? 7 out of 10. Okay. And here, what is not shaded? There are 8 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 8 are unshaded. And here, 3 out of 4 are unshaded, all 3/4. Very nice. Okay, so grade 3, that is the end of our little investigating or exploring fractions. Okay, and the next time we do fractions, we're going to take it even further, but you've learned the basics, which is really great. So for me, all I can say now is have a fabulous day going forward. Enjoy the day and be happy, be safe, look after one another, be kind to one another. And so for me, Liz, until next time, your next lesson, it's me saying bye, guys.